You reach middle age, and seemingly overnight, a firm, protruding belly arrives. You haven't changed your diet, and you're still active, but your usual fitness routine has suddenly stopped working. The instinct is to punish it. You initiate a grueling regimen, hundreds of abdominal crunches, extreme late-night cardio, and aggressive food restriction. Yet, despite the exhaustion, the belly does not shrink. In many cases, the midsection appears even more distended than when you started. There is a biological reason for this. When you push your body to the point of exhaustion while starving it of calories, your system misinterprets that modern fitness routine as a severe environmental threat. Trying to defeat stubborn fat through pure exhaustion often backfires. It violates your body's fundamental evolutionary programming to survive periods of scarcity. To understand why the belly is so resistant, we have to look at its anatomy. There are two distinct types of fat here. The first is subcutaneous fat, the soft, jiggly tissue located just underneath your skin. This diagram shows the second type, visceral fat. This is a dense layer packed tightly around your internal organs. It is this specific layer that physically pushes your stomach wall outward, creating a hard, round abdomen. This is where the myth of spot reduction falls apart. Muscles cannot selectively pull energy from the fat deposits right next to them. As we can see here, the body pulls energy from systemic reserves across the entire body, often bypassing the fat directly over the muscle you're training. If you do hundreds of crunches, you are simply building the abdominal muscle wall. But because that muscle sits underneath the visceral fat, a thicker muscle layer will physically push that fat further outward. Because muscles do not burn local fat, targeted abdominal workouts can actually make a visceral belly protrude further than it did before. This leads to a second problem, the grind, performing extreme cardio while operating on very little sleep. Pushing yourself to physical exhaustion with adequate recovery triggers the release of cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. This flowchart shows how cortisol acts as a biological traffic director. A spike in cortisol routes incoming calories to be stored deep in the abdominal cavity rather than in the subcutaneous areas or muscles. At the same time, sleep deprivation causes leptin, the hormone that signals satiety, to plummet. This sends an urgent hunger signal to the brain, leading to uncontrollable cravings for high-energy foods. Your body interprets chronic stress and sleep loss as a famine. It responds by hoarding energy in the most accessible location for your organs to use, the visceral cavity. High-intensity workouts performed while sleep-deprived create a hormonal environment that prioritizes the storage of calories as visceral fat, keeping you in a cycle of stress and accumulation. To solve this, you have to return to the baseline of thermodynamics. Biology cannot bypass the physical law of energy balance. A consistent caloric deficit is the prerequisite for any weight loss. Without consuming less energy than you expend, your body will never need to draw from its fat stores. Sleep is your most powerful tool for hormonal balance. Getting 7 to 9 hours of rest allows your body to rebalance leptin and cortisol, moving from the chaotic stress signals on the left to the smooth-flowing, balanced state on the right. When you break down fat for energy, it is converted into water and carbon dioxide. In fact, about 80% of the fat you lose is literally exhaled through your lungs as you breathe. This is why low-intensity walking is often more effective than frantic cardio for reducing visceral fat. This graph shows why intensity matters. While extreme cardio breaches the red cortisol zone, walking provides a steady calorie burn while staying below the threshold that triggers a defensive stress response. Long-term fat loss is not a test of grueling endurance. It is a matter of lowering biological stress, so your body finally feels safe enough to use its emergency reserves.